What do you do when an appraisal comes in low? Hey everyone, Curtis Chism with the Chism Realty Group, brokered by eXp, here in San Diego, helping people buy and sell homes. If I can help you buy or sell a home, please reach out to me via phone, text, or email, and let's have a conversation. All right, let's jump right into what happens when an appraisal comes in low. First, let's talk about what is an appraisal. An appraisal is a third party's opinion of the value of the home. So when you are getting a loan on a property, the lender will require that an appraisal is done. So an appraiser will come out, they will evaluate the home, they will look at comparable sales, make adjustments, and say, I think that this home is worth this amount. The lender will only lend based off that amount. So let's look at an example. If you have a $1 million home and it appraises for $980,000, that means that the lender will only lend on that $980,000. So we have to look at that difference, that $20,000, and find out what our options are. If you went in with an appraisal contingency, now this typically only happens in a softer market, more of a buyer's market, then you have a lot more options at your disposal. When you have an appraisal contingency, that means that you can back out of the contract using that appraisal contingency without losing your earnest money deposit. This also gives you a lot of leverage to negotiate, because if you're able to back out of the contract, you can go to the seller and say, hey, I want you to reduce the purchase price down to that $980,000, or I'm walking away. Now, another option might be in this situation is to split the difference with the seller, and you paid $10,000 and the seller pays $10,000. Typically, you're not going to pay that full amount when you have your appraisal contingency, because you have that contingency to back out. So the seller is going to be willing to negotiate with you. Now, let's look at a hot seller's market, which is really typical right now and probably for the foreseeable future. You're probably gonna go into the contract without an appraisal contingency. Now, this means you still have to have an appraisal conducted. The lender definitely is going to require that, but you're eliminating that contingency. In other words, you're saying, no matter what happens here, I am not going to back out of the contract using an appraisal contingency. Now, what this looks like in reality is there can be a couple options here. One, you might go in and say, I am willing to pay any difference in that appraisal gap. So if it's a $20,000 difference, I'm paying that difference. If it's a $50,000 difference, I am paying that difference. Or you could go in and say, I'm willing to cover an appraisal gap of a certain amount. So that a gap might be $20,000. So if it appraises $20,000 low, you are willing to pay that $20,000. If it appraises $50,000 low, you're only willing to pay an additional $20,000 over that appraised value. So if it appraises at $950,000, you're willing to pay $970,000, and the seller would then drop the sales price to that. Now, if you decided that you don't want to buy the house anymore because the appraisal gap was so large, and you walk away and you don't exercise a contingency because you don't have that appraisal contingency, you're going to lose your earnest money deposit that you put in. So that's going to be the earnest money deposit is 1%, typically to 3% of the purchase price that you put at the beginning of the contract within 3 business days, and that secures the contract for you. So you're going to lose that money on a $1 million home. That's going to be between $10,000 to $30,000. Now, there are some strategies we can employ to protect you even when you're going in without an appraisal contingency that we can discuss in person in a strategy session, but that's an overview of what would happen if an appraisal comes in low. If you're looking to buy a home and you want the best strategies to get yourself into a home with the fewest offers and the best terms possible, then please reach out to me via phone, text, or email, and let's have a conversation and let's strategize about how we can help you get into your dream home.